The silent shadow. Maya Jensen slipped into the conference room precisely 3 minutes before the morning meeting began, choosing a chair along the wall rather than at the gleaming mahogany table. This had been her ritual for the past 2 years at Horizon Marketing. Arrive early, sit unnoticed, take meticulous notes, and speak only when directly addressed. "The Wellstone campaign needs a complete overhaul by Friday," announced Dominic Reed, Horizon's youngest executive director, as he paced the length of the conference room. His tailored charcoal suit and perfectly knotted tie were as impeccable as his reputation for ruthless perfectionism. "The client hated our initial concept. Absolutely hated it." Maya's pen moved swiftly across her notebook, capturing every detail while her mind raced with alternative approaches. She had ideas, brilliant ones she believed, but the words remained trapped behind years of carefully constructed walls. "Martinson, your team will handle the digital assets," Dominic continued, pointing to the senior strategist. "Chen, I want your group on demographics and targeting." He continued delegating, his eyes sweeping past Maya as if she were part of the furniture. When the meeting adjourned, Maya gathered her things with practiced efficiency. A gentle tap on her shoulder made her jump. "I saw you writing like crazy," said Aiden Carter, the creative team's art director. His kind eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled. "Got some ideas brewing?" Maya clutched her notebook closer. "Just taking notes." "Come on, Jensen. I've worked with you long enough to recognize your I've got a better approach face." She hesitated, glancing around to ensure Dominic wasn't within earshot. "I was thinking maybe we're approaching Wellstone all wrong. They're not just selling luxury watches. They're selling moments that matter. What if we focused on emotional milestones where time stands still?" Aiden's eyes widened. "That's actually brilliant. You should pitch that to Dominic." Maya laughed softly, tucking a strand of auburn hair behind her ear. "Right? Because he's so receptive to junior staff interrupting his vision." "His vision just got rejected by the client," Aiden reminded her. "Besides, you've been here 2 years. How long are you going to hide in the shadows?" Before Maya could respond, Dominic's voice cut through the room. "Carter, I need those mock-ups by lunch." Aiden squeezed Maya's shoulder. "Think about it, okay? Your ideas deserve to be heard." Throughout the day, Maya moved efficiently through her tasks, coordinating meetings, formatting reports, and resolving crises before they reached Dominic's radar. She was good at her job, exceptional even, but her role as Dominic's assistant kept her firmly in the background. That evening, long after most employees had left, Maya remained at her desk, illuminated only by her computer screen. Opening a new document, she began crafting a comprehensive proposal for the Wellstone campaign. Her vision, her strategy, her heart poured onto digital pages. "Still here, Jensen?" Dominic's voice startled her. He stood in the doorway, jacket slung over his shoulder, his expression unreadable. Maya quickly minimized the document. "Just finishing up some reports, sir." He nodded, studying her with those penetrating gray eyes. "Dedication. I appreciate that quality." He turned to leave, then paused. "The Wellstone situation. It's a challenging one." For a fleeting moment, Maya thought about sharing her ideas, but his next words extinguished the impulse. "It needs experienced hands. Good night, Jensen." After he left, Maya reopened her document and continued working into the night. One day, she promised herself, her voice would be heard. One day, Dominic Reed would see her, truly see her, and recognize what she had to offer. What she didn't know was how soon that day would come, or how completely it would change everything between them. Breaking point. The office buzzed with nervous energy as news spread that Horizon Marketing was in the running for the coveted Meridian luxury account, a client worth potentially millions. Creative teams huddled in corners, strategy sessions ran overtime, and Dominic's temper grew shorter by the day. Maya watched from her peripheral position, continuing her secret work on the Wellstone proposal while managing Dominic's increasingly demanding schedule. Each night she stayed later, refining her ideas until they shone with clarity and innovation. "You're burning yourself out," Aiden commented one evening, finding her alone in the break room. "Is this still about Wellstone?" Maya glanced around before pulling her tablet from her bag. And Meridian, she admitted, showing him her work. I know it's not my place, but I've been researching their brand history and target demographics, and I think this is exceptional, Aiden interrupted, scrolling through her presentation. Maya, this connects emotional storytelling with market positioning in a way I've never seen before. A flush of pride warmed her cheeks. It's just a rough draft. It's brilliant, he insisted. Are you going to show Dominic? The question hung in the air as the break room door swung open. Dominic strode in, his expression thunderous. Carter, where are the revised mood boards? The executive team is waiting. His eyes narrowed at the tablet in Aiden's hands. What's that? Before Aiden could respond, Dominic snatched the tablet, his expression shifting from irritation to disbelief as he scrolled through Maya's work. The silence stretched painfully. You did this, he finally asked Maya, his voice unnervingly quiet. She straightened her shoulders. Yes, You thought you could solve what our senior team hasn't managed? His laugh was cold, dismissive. Jensen, this is exactly why you're still an assistant. You don't understand the complexities of these accounts. I researched extensively. Research doesn't equal experience. He cut her off, dropping the tablet onto the table. This is amateur work at best. The Meridian pitch requires sophistication, not sentimentality. You're not good enough for this level. Focus on your actual responsibilities instead of overreaching. Each word landed like a physical blow. Maya's vision blurred with unshed tears as Dominic turned to Aiden. Meeting room. Now. After they left, Maya gathered her tablet with trembling hands. 2 years of silent dedication, of swallowed ideas and midnight inspirations, all dismissed in seconds. The humiliation burned worse than the rejection itself. That night, she drafted her resignation letter. For hours, her cursor hovered over the send button, but something held her back. Not fear, but a tiny ember of defiance that refused to be extinguished. The next morning, she arrived to find an email from Dominic. Wellstone approved the revised concept. Meridian presentation in 2 weeks. All hands on deck. Attached was the approved Wellstone campaign, using a concept remarkably similar to her original idea, but without any acknowledgement. Maya sat frozen, staring at her screen. When Aiden appeared at her desk, "He stole my concept," she whispered. Aiden's expression confirmed it. "I'm sorry, Maya." "I tried to tell him, it doesn't matter," she interrupted, surprising herself with the steadiness of her voice. The client loved it. "That's what counts." "That's bullshit and you know it," Aiden said, uncharacteristically harsh. "He should have credited you at minimum." Maya looked at her resignation letter still open on her desktop. With deliberate movements, she closed it without sending. "I'm not quitting," she said quietly. "No, no." A new resolve hardened within her. "But I'm not staying silent anymore either." That evening, instead of going home, Maya went to the company's small library and began pulling research materials on Meridian luxury. If Dominic thought her work was amateur, she would create something so undeniably brilliant that even he couldn't dismiss it. Hours turned into days. She worked her regular hours, then stayed late into the night developing a completely new approach for Meridian, one that dug deeper into cultural anthropology and the psychology of luxury than any proposal Horizon had ever produced. Aiden began joining her, offering insights from the creative perspective and bringing takeout when she forgot to eat. Their late-night collaboration sparked a friendship deeper than either had expected. "Why do you stay?" he asked one night as they sorted through market research. "After how he treated you." Maya considered the question carefully. "Because I know I belong here. Because quitting would prove him right. And if he rejects this proposal too," she met his gaze steadily, "then I'll know I've given everything I have. And it's time to find somewhere that values it." Neither of them noticed Dominic standing in the doorway, watching their exchange with an unreadable expression before silently walking away. The Awakening. The Meridian presentation loomed a week away when disaster struck the Wellstone campaign. Their main competitor launched an almost identical concept, making Horizon's approved campaign look derivative rather than innovative. Dominic called an emergency meeting. his face etched with controlled fury as he addressed the team. We need a complete pivot by tomorrow morning. Something fresh. Something that can't be accused of being a copycat. Maya sat in her usual spot against the wall, watching the panic unfold. Senior strategists argued about timelines and feasibility while Dominic paced like a caged predator. It's impossible, someone finally said. We can't create and approve a whole new concept overnight. Dominic's gaze swept the room, landing briefly on Maya before moving on. Then we lose the account. Is that what you're telling me? As the meeting dissolved into chaotic debate, Maya slipped out unnoticed. Racing back to her desk, she pulled up her original Wellstone files, not the watered-down version Dominic had implemented, but her complete strategy with multiple execution paths. She worked feverishly, updating numbers and timelines when a shadow fell across her desk. "What are you doing?" Dominic demanded. Maya didn't minimize her screen this time. "Solving your problem." His eyebrows shot up. "Excuse me?" "The competitor used your approach, not mine," she said, continuing to type. "My original concept had 3 execution paths. You only used 1. The other 2 are still viable, and they're better than what they've put out." For once, Dominic seemed speechless. After a long pause, he pulled up a chair beside her desk, something he'd never done before. "Show me." For the next hour, Maya walked him through her complete strategy. With each slide, his expression shifted from skepticism to consideration to grudging respect. "Why didn't you push harder when I dismissed this?" he finally asked. Maya met his gaze directly. "Would you have listened?" The question hung between them, honest and uncomfortable. To her surprise, he didn't immediately deny it. "Finish the revisions," he said instead. "Have them on my desk by 7 tomorrow." After he left, Aiden appeared with 2 coffees. Was that what I think it was? Actual collaboration with the dragon? Maya couldn't help smiling. Maybe more like an armed truce. Progress is progress. He set a coffee on her desk. "Need help?" Together they worked through the night, refining Maya's alternate Wellstone strategy, while simultaneously advancing their secret Meridian proposal. By dawn, both were ready. When Dominic received Maya's Wellstone revisions, his only response was a terse email. "Implementing immediately. Good work." Those 2 simple words, "good work," lit something inside Maya that had been dormant for too long. It wasn't effusive praise, but from Dominic Reed, it was unprecedented. The new Wellstone campaign launched to immediate positive response, salvaging the account and boosting Horizon's reputation for agility. Though Dominic never publicly credited Maya, he began including her in strategy meetings, occasionally asking for her perspective with a newfound respect in his tone. As the Meridian presentation approached, Maya continued polishing her proposal with Aiden's help, no longer hiding their work. If asked, they would honestly say they were developing an alternative approach, though no one, including Dominic, bothered to inquire. 2 days before the Meridian pitch, Dominic called Maya into his office. She brought her notebook, expecting questions about scheduling or logistics. "Close the door," he said, his expression serious. "I owe you an apology." Maya froze, certain she had misheard. "The Wellstone situation made something clear to me," he continued, visibly uncomfortable with the conversation. "I've been short-sighted regarding your capabilities." "Thank you for recognizing that," Maya said carefully. "I've reviewed your performance history. You've consistently exceeded expectations, yet remained in the same position." He met her eyes directly. "That reflects poorly on my leadership." Maya hardly dared breathe. This vulnerability from Dominic was unprecedented. "The Meridian presentation is critical for this agency," he continued. "I want you to attend. Not to take notes, to participate." Joy surged through her, quickly tempered by caution. "In what capacity?" "Observer and backup. Learn how these major pitches work. Perhaps contribute if appropriate." He hesitated. "Consider it the beginning of a different trajectory for your career here." As Maya left his office, her mind raced with possibilities. For the first time, she allowed herself to imagine a future at Horizon where her voice mattered. That night, she told Aiden about the conversation, her excitement spilling over. "It's about time he noticed," Aiden said, his smile warming his eyes. You know, I've always believed in you, even when you didn't believe in yourself. In the quiet of the empty office, something shifted between them, a moment of recognition that their relationship had grown into something deeper than collegial support. Maya touched his hand lightly. I wouldn't have gotten through this without you. Yes, you would have, he contradicted gently. You're stronger than you know. Maya, always have been. Their fingers intertwined, and for a moment, the pressure of tomorrow's challenges faded into the background of something new and fragile, blossoming between them. Part 4. The Turning Point. The morning of the Meridian presentation arrived with a perfect storm of disaster. A major traffic accident blocked downtown, delaying half the presentation team. When they finally arrived at Horizon, Jason Mills, the lead presenter and Dominic's right-hand strategist, was pale and sweating with what was quickly diagnosed as severe food poisoning. Dominic paced the conference room, his composure cracking as the Meridian executives were due to arrive in 30 minutes. We can't reschedule. They've flown in from Europe specifically for this meeting. I can cover Jason's sections, offered Christine from the strategy team, though her voice betrayed her doubt. You haven't rehearsed his material, Dominic countered, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair, disrupting it for the first time in Maya's memory. And half the presentation relies on his specific expertise. Maya exchanged glances with Aiden, a silent communication passing between them. With steady hands, she removed her tablet from her bag and approached Dominic. There's another option, she said quietly. Dominic turned, irritation flashing across his features before recognition set in. Your secret project. It wasn't a question. Maya realized with a jolt that he'd known all along. A complete Meridian strategy, she confirmed. Different from the official pitch, but comprehensive and ready to present. You expect me to throw out weeks of preparation and go with an untested concept? His voice was incredulous but not dismissive, a crucial difference. Not untested, Aiden interjected, stepping forward. We've vetted it against all available market research, consumer psychology studies, and Meridian's published brand values. It's solid, Dominic looked between them, calculation visible in his eyes as he weighed impossible options. Show me, now. For the next 20 minutes, Maya presented her concept at breakneck speed while Dominic absorbed every detail with laser focus. The rest of the team watched in stunned silence as the assistant they'd barely noticed commanded the room with unexpected authority. When she finished, the silence stretched painfully until Dominic gave a single, decisive nod. We'll use it. He turned to the team. Upload Jensen's presentation. Everyone review your new talking points, and someone find her something better to wear than that department store blazer. While the team scrambled to adapt, Dominic pulled Maya aside. Are you prepared to present this yourself? Her heart thundered in her chest. What? You created it. You understand it best. His eyes bore into hers. Can you do this? The question contained multitudes. Was she good enough, confident enough, ready enough? The old Maya would have shrunk from the challenge. The woman she had become took a deep breath and nodded. Yes. 30 minutes later, Maya stood before the Meridian executives in a borrowed designer blazer, her voice steady as she introduced herself. Good morning. I'm Maya Jensen, and I'm here to show you how Horizon Marketing plans to transform the luxury landscape for Meridian. What followed was unlike any presentation in Horizon's history. Maya didn't just deliver facts and strategies, she told a story that wove together cultural heritage, aspiration, and legacy. She spoke about time not as something measured by watches, but as moments that define lives. She presented research not as cold data, but as human insights that revealed deeper truths about connection and meaning. Throughout, Dominic watched from the side, his expression shifting from tense vigilance to something resembling amazement. When Maya concluded, the room remained silent for 3 excruciating seconds before Bernard Kessler, Meridian's notoriously critical CEO, stood up. In 40 years of business, he said, his accented voice filling the room. I have sat through hundreds of agency pitches. Most speak to my company. Few speak to our customers. He looked directly at Maya. You, Ms. Jensen, have spoken to our soul. The contract was signed before lunch. In the chaotic celebration that followed, Maya found herself in a quiet corner with Dominic. For once, his perfectly controlled facade had fallen away, revealing something raw and genuine. "You saved us today," he said simply. "I just did my job." "No, you did far more than your job." He shook his head slightly. "I was wrong about you, Maya. Completely wrong." The use of her first name startled her almost as much as the admission. "What happens now?" she asked. New beginnings, the landscape at Horizon Marketing transformed in the weeks following the Meridian triumph. Maya found herself elevated to senior strategist with her own office and team. The whispers that had once questioned her overnight promotion were silenced by the success of her subsequent campaigns. Her relationship with Aiden had evolved too, their professional collaboration blossoming into romantic dinners and weekend getaways. He remained her strongest supporter, celebrating each of her victories as if they were his own. Dominic, however, had become an enigma. While publicly supportive of Maya's advancement, he maintained a new distance, professional, respectful, but lacking the moments of connection they had begun to forge during the crisis. On a rainy Thursday afternoon, Maya was reviewing campaign metrics when her door opened without a knock. Dominic stood there, uncharacteristically hesitant. "Do you have a minute?" he asked. She gestured to the chair across from her desk, the same position she had occupied in countless meetings in his office. "The board approved the new departmental structure," he said, sitting down. "I'm establishing a dedicated innovation strategy division. I'd like you to lead it." Maya set down her pen. "That's unexpected, is it? You've proven yourself repeatedly." He leaned forward. "You see angles others miss, Maya. The company needs that vision. And you're comfortable with me directing a division at my level of experience?" His lips quirked in the ghost of a smile. "After Meridian? I'd be a fool not to promote you." There was something left unsaid hovering between them. Maya waited, giving him space to continue. "I've been difficult," he finally admitted. "Demanding, dismissive." He met her eyes directly. "I've been everything a leader shouldn't be, and I owe you more apologies than can fit in one conversation." The vulnerability in his confession stunned her. This wasn't the Dominic Reed who had coldly rejected her ideas or dismissed her potential. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I heard you're considering an offer from Sterling and West." Maya's breath caught. She had told no one about the competing agency's approach except Aiden. "Before you make any decisions," Dominic continued, "I want you to know that Horizon is changing, that I'm changing. Your success forced me to confront some uncomfortable truths about my leadership style. It shouldn't have taken that." "No," he agreed. "It shouldn't have. But sometimes we need our foundations shaken to recognize what matters." The weight of his words hung in the air between them. For a moment, Maya glimpsed not the intimidating executive, but the person beneath, someone capable of growth, of remorse, of connection. "The innovation division," she said carefully. "Would I report directly to you?" "To the board, actually. We would be peers." The significance wasn't lost on her. Equal footing. A complete transformation from where they had begun. "I need time to consider it," she said. He nodded, standing to leave before pausing at the door. "Maya, whatever you decide, thank you for not giving up on Horizon, on your potential." A barely perceptible hesitation. "On me." After he left, Maya sat motionless, absorbing the conversation when her phone chimed with a message from Aiden. "Dinner tonight? Celebrating your offer from Sterling?" She smiled, typing back, "Yes to dinner. As for Sterling, I have more to consider now." That evening, at the restaurant overlooking the city lights, she told Aiden about Dominic's offer and surprising vulnerability. "Are you considering staying?" he asked, his expression carefully neutral. "I'm considering everything," she admitted. "The Sterling position would be prestigious, but building something new at Horizon, something that could change the culture from within." She trailed off, noticing his silence. "You don't think I should stay?" He reached for her hand across the table. "I think you should go wherever your voice will be most powerful. And I think," he hesitated, "no matter what you choose, we'll figure us out together." The certainty in his words wrapped around her heart like a promise. 3 days later, Maya stood in Dominic's office with her decision. He looked up from his desk, setting aside his work with a respect he never would have shown 2 months earlier. "I'm accepting the position," she said simply. Relief softened his features. "I'm glad." With conditions, his eyebrow raised, but he nodded for her to continue. "The division needs autonomy, real creative freedom, and a mentorship program for junior staff with promising ideas. To prevent another Maya Jensen from being overlooked." A hint of his old sharpness colored the question, but with new self-awareness behind it. "Precisely." He considered her for a long moment before extending his hand. "Accepted." As they shook on the agreement, Maya reflected on the journey that had brought her here, from silenced assistant to respected leader, from shadow to spotlight. She had found her voice not just professionally, but personally, discovering her worth through both conflict and connection. Later that evening, she and Aiden walked along the riverfront, her head resting comfortably against his shoulder. "So begins the era of Maya Jensen, Innovation Director," he said, dropping a kiss on her temple. She laughed softly. "It's strange. 6 months ago, I was drafting Dominic's emails and getting his coffee, and secretly outshining everyone in the building." "Not everyone," she said, stopping to face him fully. "You saw me before anyone else did. Before I saw myself." His hands framed her face gently. "I just recognized what was already there." As their lips met in the fading light, Maya knew with perfect clarity that finding her voice had given her far more than professional success. It had opened the door to authentic connection, to love, to a future where she would never again silence herself or allow others to diminish her light. And somewhere across town, Dominic Reed was learning that sometimes the greatest leadership comes not from commanding others, but from the humility to recognize when you've been wrong and the courage to change because of it.